It is incredibly easy to look at a cockpit display, see a distance readout, and assume it represents the exact miles between your aircraft and a point on a flat map. But distance measuring equipment, or DME, does not track pure horizontal ground distance. It calculates a three-dimensional hypotenuse known as slant range. To see how that geometric difference plays out in reality, consider a quick test. If an aircraft flies directly overhead a DME ground station at altitude, will the instrument read 0? Drop a yes or no in the comments right now before we move forward. In this lesson, we will derive the mechanics of DME from first principles. We will look at the precise geometry of slant range and break down exactly how aviation authorities test this concept. Because assuming DME is a simple two-dimensional tape measure is exactly how student pilots lose points on professional navigation exams. To understand what the instrument is actually displaying, we have to look outside the cockpit and step into the airspace between the plane and the ground. DME stands for Distance Measuring Equipment. It does not passively track coordinates. Instead, it relies on an active conversation between your aircraft and a transponder on the ground. The sequence starts here. The aircraft transmits an interrogation signal down to the ground station. The station receives it, processes it, and transmits a reply pulse back to the aircraft. The onboard equipment records the precise time delay of this entire round trip. Since radio waves travel at a constant and known speed, the aircraft multiplies that speed by the elapsed time to solve for the exact distance. If breaking the system down into a basic interrogation and reply cycle clarifies the concept, hit the like button so this lesson reaches more student pilots. At its core, DME is a highly precise radio frequency stopwatch that converts temporal data into spatial data. Now let's map that physical time delay onto a spatial model. That radio signal travels in a straight line, taking the absolute shortest path through the air between the aircraft and the station. On a navigation chart, you see a flat line, but in reality, your aircraft is thousands of feet up in the air. This creates a spatial relationship that is best understood by drawing a right triangle. In this diagram, the horizontal baseline represents the ground distance, while the vertical leg represents altitude. Connecting the top of the altitude leg to the ground distance leg is the hypotenuse, the direct path of the radio wave. This is the slant range. That specific diagonal line is exactly what the instrument calculates and displays to the pilot. Mathematically, that hypotenuse embeds both your horizontal map position and your vertical separation into a single value. Because the hypotenuse is always the longest side of a right triangle, the DME reading will inherently always be greater than your true distance over the ground. Altitude permanently distorts the perception of distance, forcing professional pilots to navigate in 3 dimensions rather than 2. We can now apply this model to the test from earlier, the aircraft flying directly over the station. Let's set the exact parameters. The aircraft is maintaining a steady altitude of 6,000 feet. Watch the geometry morph as the aircraft physically approaches the station. The horizontal base shrinks, and the hypotenuse becomes increasingly steep. At the exact moment the aircraft crosses directly overhead, the horizontal ground distance hits absolute 0, but the physical signal still has to travel down to the antenna. The instrument is now measuring pure vertical separation. For exam purposes, 6,000 feet of vertical altitude equates to approximately 1 nautical mile, so the display will read 1 nm. If you are preparing for DGCA, FAA, EASA, or TC theory exams, subscribe to Captain Aero to master these topics from the ground up. The reading is correct. The equipment isn't broken or lying. The pilot simply misunderstood which specific spatial dimension it was measuring. Knowing how DME calculates distance is only the first step. We also need to see how it operates within the modern navigation suite. This data is rarely used in isolation because distance alone only provides a radius, not a definitive location. Looking at this diagram, you can see how it is typically paired with a VOR. The VOR provides radial direction, while the DME provides distance, intersecting to pinpoint an exact 3D coordinate. It is also heavily integrated with the instrument landing system for continuous range updates during precision approaches. On the technical side, there is an exact emission classification you must memorize for your exams, P0N. You simply need to recognize that P0N is the regulatory designation for unmodulated, pulsed signals used exclusively for distance measurement. Mastering the equipment requires understanding both its geometric behavior in physical space and its technical classification in the radio spectrum. Let's translate this directly into exam execution by addressing the most common conceptual trap regarding slant range. Many students falsely assume that slant range error is linear. They think it skews the distance equally no matter where the plane is located. This diagram shows exactly why that is wrong. When the aircraft is very far away, the slant range hypotenuse is nearly identical in length to the ground distance, making the error negligible. But as the aircraft gets close to the station, altitude starts making up a massive percentage of the calculation, and the error compounds drastically. Because of this, you will see two common questions. Example 1. What does DME measure? The answer is slant range. Example 2. Why does DME not read 0 overhead? The answer is because of the remaining vertical distance between the aircraft and the station. Aviation boards specifically test this nonlinear error curve to verify that pilots understand the spatial limits of their instruments during critical approach phases. Let's initiate a rapid review of the foundational principles we've extracted today. Here is your final blueprint. The system uses interrogation and reply mechanics. It calculates distance using a precise time delay. It displays slant range geometry. It generates an overhead altitude error, and it is typically paired operationally with VOR or ILS. Go back to the overhead scenario from the beginning of the video. Let me know in the comments if you originally thought the instrument should read 0. Grounding yourself in strict geometric reality is the foundation for passing your exams and ultimately becoming a safer, more precise professional aviator.